So guys, if I was to start a social media marketing agency in 2023 from absolutely $0, here are the exact steps I would take in order to scale that up from zero all the way up to 10K per month in a relatively short amount of time. Now guys, this is going to be a little bit of a tricky video to do, so all I ask for in return is to drop a like, comment, subscribe, and let's get into this. So first and foremost guys, the reason why I'm doing this video is because it's an infamous question I get asked like plenty of times, probably per week, to be honest with you, from people just hitting me up in my DMs on Instagram. If you don't follow me, drop me a follow. I'll leave my Instagram below. But people ask me stuff like, Montell, how would you start an agency from completely like zero? You got $0 in a bank account. How would you actually do it? And you know what the funny thing is, now in 2023, now that the agency space is kind of getting, I wouldn't say oversaturated, but there's definitely more players in the game now. What I would actually do, guys, is raise up some capital. So let's pretend right now, and let's go down memory lane and explain exactly how I did it and what I would do, you know, in 2023 as of right now, the time of recording this in friggin' April. So here's what I would basically do, guys. There's two methods I would actually implement first and foremost. The first method, and these are either or, by the way, you can actually choose either or of these. The first method I would use, if I had completely zero in my bank account, I probably wouldn't start a social media marketing agency. Now, don't dislike this video or just skip off this video because I'm going to explain exactly why in a second. But long story short, guys, what I'd be doing is I would be raising capital in some way, shape or form. In fact, I actually did this. I sold my PlayStation 4. I sold my old Air Jordans, like Air Retro Jordans that I used to collect. I even sold my old iMac to raise capital. Now, the reason why I'm saying this, guys, is because yes, in the industry, we keep hearing people talk about like starting a social media marketing agency from completely zero. And it is definitely possible. The only problem with that is that it's just because something you are able to do something, I don't think that's necessarily a good idea. Just because you can do something, I don't think you should do that same thing. Because when it comes to starting a social media marketing agency, guys, you've got kind of like two things you can either use. I call this your sweat equity. So if you've got $0, you're gonna have to use your sweat equity in order to generate money. But if you've got money in the first place to start a social media marketing agency, you can use that money to leverage and save time. And here's what I mean by that. If you've got zero money, right, you're gonna have to either build an audience or you're gonna have to do a whole bunch of cold outreach. So building an audience would be like jumping onto LinkedIn. This is exactly how I did it. So I'm going to break down these two methods real quick. So the first method would be to raise capital and then start investing into first line writers and building a personal brand around your agency. Now, a lot of people ask me like, what's a personal brand? Do I have to have like an agency logo as my face? No, I would literally be on Facebook and LinkedIn. Those are the two platforms I would use. I'd probably stay away from Instagram just as of now. And the reason for that is because Instagram is one of those platforms where you don't really follow people and they follow back. But normally like on Facebook and LinkedIn, when you add a friend, they're basically just your friend on LinkedIn, on Facebook, or if you send them a friend request or a LinkedIn connection request. So they're basically just as a friend on your LinkedIn. With Instagram though, it's a little bit of a different ball game. It's more of like a prestige thing. You'll see like lots of accounts, even me included, where I've just hit 10K on my actual Instagram itself, and you'll notice that I only follow maybe like 400-ish something people. You see like big celebrities as well. They've got like millions of followers and they don't follow back. So I think Instagram's more of a flashy place to be, not a real place to kind of like communicate. Now, don't get me wrong, I've made a lot of money on Instagram for my personal brand. I wouldn't start there just yet. I would actually go in and people collect on Facebook and LinkedIn. So that's the kind of like the first method. It would be a combination of two methods. So $0, you're starting this. I would probably sell some old shit on eBay. I would probably go get a friggin' Uber Eats job or something like that, or I would go and get like a weekend job to raise up capital. Now, I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, but this is the hard truth, guys. I'm here to give this fully transparent to you guys. Just because you can start a social media marketing agency with $0 doesn't actually mean it's necessarily a good thing. And here's why. Doing like cold outreach sucks. You will, especially if you're finding leads yourself, you're qualifying the leads yourself, and then reaching out to the leads with a personalized message all by hand, it absolutely sucks. Now, I know there's gonna be one of those dudes in the comment section. There always is one of those dudes in the comment section talking about, oh, Montell, I scrape leads and then I use an AI software to write my emails for me, and the whole thing's on autopilot. And I just asked them, how many emails have you sent and how many clients you close? Is it working? Every single person says no, doesn't actually work. So when I say that cold outreach sucks, I'm talking about real handwritten, tailor-made, you know, emails, messages that are actually going over there, and people can actually tell that they're handwritten by you. The way how I do and the way how I teach inside the A Traumatation on how to do cold outreach, you can tell straight away the difference between our outreach and a friggin' automated AI software bot. The reason for that is because the way how we handwrite our personalized messages, for example, on our emails would be saying stuff like, hey, John, I just checked out the recent podcast episode you did with Joe Rogan, for example, and I really love the point you made about so and so, X, Y, and Z, for example. That right there, a automation software cannot go into a YouTube video or a podcast episode, listen to the entire thing and extrapolate a point, distinguish between who's talking at what point, and then extrapolate a point out of that, and then relate it back to business in a way that's coherent with your outreach message. They're not smart enough to do that yet. In fact, if they are smart enough to do that, please let me know in the comment section below. I will do a whole full review on one of these automation softwares and put it up against like an actual real human. But as of my knowledge right now, there is no tool out here that can actually do that. So doing cold outreach yourself is going to suck if you have no money. So this is what most people do. They come across YouTubers, they come across these gurus, they hear about starting a social media marketing agency from zero, they then pick a niche, they then just start spamming people with cold outreach over and over and over again, and then they maybe last maybe a month, 2 months, they get 0 clients, barely even set any meetings, and then they cry that SMMA doesn't work. Well, no shit, if it was that easy, everybody would be quitting their jobs, like flooding to SMMA, and nobody be working jobs anymore if it was that easy, guys. It's not that easy. Sometimes you might even go 1,500 freaking emails deep before you even, set a handful of meetings, which sounds crazy, but realistically, if you was running Facebook ads, that's not even any numbers. You should be seeing way more numbers than that. You should be doing at least 250 outreach per day and stuff like that. Well, depends on where you're at in your journey, obviously. So the first method would be to, like I said, if you got $0, raise up some capital. It's going to make your life so much easier, because then what you can do is go out there, start learning cold outreach yourself, set at least 3 meetings. So now you have what you call a proof of concept, and then scale that up by hiring $3 an hour appointment setters. You see, you can actually outsource this for $3 an hour. So if you're making more than that, maybe from selling stuff on eBay, or just, going and working like an Uber Eats job or something like that, then you can actually afford to outsource your outreach, because it's only $3 per hour, and you can get maybe 1 or 2 people in there, start sending cold emails for you, doing the lead sourcing, prospecting, the first line for writing for you, and actually land clients that way. First method would be to raise capital, start leveraging what I call it leverage cold outreach. Leverage cold outreach is where you actually leverage a human being, a virtual assistant, and you pay them on an hourly basis or a fixed basis to do a certain amount of outreach for you in your agency. That's what I would basically do. And again, outreach is the most important thing when you've got no clients. Getting outreach and building a team, that would be the first 2 things I'd be focusing on: raising capital, doing those things. Now the next thing I'd be doing whilst doing cold outreach, so this is literally how I would structure my days. On day 1, I would literally be doing cold outreach after I've picked my niche, obviously, and picked my service and come up with a strong offer and value statement. I'd be doing cold outreach, and I would be going on LinkedIn and Facebook and adding these business owners as friends on my Facebook, and I'd be dropping at least 1 piece of content around my niche, their pain problems, and what I can do in order to help them. AKA, let's say you're working with real estate agents right now, and this is exactly what I did, by the way, so I know that this works 100%. Is that if you're on LinkedIn right now and you're connected with a whole bunch of real estate agents and you're doing Facebook ads for real estate agents, then what I would talk about is literally Facebook ads for real estate agents over and over and over and over and over again on my actual LinkedIn. I'd then be connecting with a whole bunch of real estate agents like I did. And this is how I actually landed my first ever client, from, switching from cold outreach to doing, I call it warm outreach. Warm outreach is where you at least connect with somebody first. They've actually seen your profile, actually accepted, and they start looking into your content. Now, who are you realistically going to believe? Like, think about it. If you was a business owner and you see somebody reaching out to you talking about Facebook ads this, Facebook ads that, by a cold email, you can't even see their face, or you've actually got somebody on Facebook that you keep seeing over and over and over and over again, and they're talking about Facebook ads and they look like they know what they're talking about. Obviously, it's going to be the second dude, because it actually builds trust, credibility, and authority. That's exactly why you want to build a brand. Now, a lot of people out there are probably wondering, oh, do I have to show my face on camera and stuff like that to start a marketing agency? I would say, if you want to do it the most difficult way possible, just do cold outreach and don't show your face ever. That's if you actually want to do it the most difficult, if you want to have the most painstaking time of starting an agency ever, then do that. But if you want a slightly easier way, a slightly simpler way, I would definitely start a personal brand, start connecting with my actual ideal audience on LinkedIn and Facebook, both of them at the exact same time. And I'd be dropping content every single day on my Facebook and my LinkedIn. I'd be going into Facebook groups, I'd be going into LinkedIn groups, adding people and what I call people collecting. So people collecting is where you actually go to a Facebook group of qualified people, aka real estate agents of London, London, in there's probably some real estate agents that are doing some decent numbers. Then what I would do is actually start connecting people, actually adding those people inside the group, having looked into their profile, obviously, to verify that they're an actual real estate agent. Now, that's method number one. This is like outside of Upwork. The second method I would use, I'd probably use this one first, to be honest with you. So that method, I just thought I'd mention that one first, because that's kind of like not the cliche method I would use and I mention on my channel all the time. But this method right here, the second method, is literally what scaled me to 10K per month, guys. So this is the method I need you to pay attention to. What I'm going to need you guys to do is probably stack up some money, so you got at least maybe, I'd say maybe 216-ish US dollars. Actually, Upwork Connects are getting a little bit more expensive now, so I'd call it like 350 USD. Stack up 350 USD. I know that this is going to sound difficult, but go get a job. I know you don't want to hear this. I can hear your tears right now. I know this is going to suck, guys, but it's only going to suck for a couple of months. Here's the thing. Go get a job. Raise up some capital. If you're completely broke, raise up some capital. And then what I would do is bank my bets on Upwork. I'm telling you right now, I have not seen a single platform outperform Upwork in terms of the way people are able to close clients within like their first day, second day, their third day. I'm pretty sure you've seen some of the results. If not, go to my Instagram, click on the highlight section. I literally have 4 highlights that are pretty much full of just results of people closing like 3 clients in a week, closing a client for like $2,600 on their third day of doing outreach, a 1.5K overall social media deal paid in full on the second day of doing outreach. I've seen people close a 4.1K or 4.3K per month client, right? Without even needing to take a sales call, all because of Upwork, just going through DMs and, actually closing a client. I've seen many people actually close clients without even taking a friggin' sales call with them on Upwork, because the people on Upwork are that warm. If you don't know what Upwork is, by the way, I'm not affiliated with it in any way, shape or form, but all it is it's a freelance website where business owners go on there and they're literally warm as hell. They literally create what you call a client account, and they put their hands up saying, hey, I'm a business owner, I own this type of business, and I'm looking for somebody who can help me with this sort of content. You then apply to that job and make sure you stand out from the rest of the people. And again, standing out from the rest of people is one of the big things in 2023, because a lot of people now, you actually have to start branding yourself and actually come up with really cool assets and names for certain things, for your offers and stuff like that. So branding is a big thing in 2023. Make things, I guess you kind of want to put a ribbon on everything now. That's kind of like what marketing is. Instead of calling a phone, Apple calls their phone an iPhone. You see how it's different? Instead of calling their laptop a laptop, they call theirs a MacBook. You know what I'm trying to say? It's got a brand, it's got a name to it. For example, like my 90-day paid traffic program. That's not just, I do Facebook ads for you for 3 months. It's a 90-day paid traffic program or 90-day lead automation program. That sort of stuff. Put a name to it. It makes everything sound cool. We've got a 3-step onboarding process. There you go. Like little things like that make clients, it shows clients that you actually know what you're talking about, and you've got a name and a process and what you call a SOP, standard operating procedure for certain things. So it makes you look more professional. So freelance website, that's what Upwork is. You go on there, you start applying to jobs. You want to stand out and stick out from the crowd, guys. Now, that's obviously easier said than done, but you can actually do this quite quickly. I've still got students right now that are closing their first client within their first week of joining H Rotation, which is absolutely nuts. Still to this day, I think I just had a student do that just not even maybe two weeks ago, maybe even less than that. I don't want to, overhype the numbers and whatnot, but literally less than 2 weeks ago. Anyway, guys, the reason why I would recommend going this way first is because this is a warmer traffic source. I would focus on warmer traffic sources first. Now, you can do it a couple different ways now, guys. I don't want to confuse anybody, but you can do it a couple ways. If I was really going back right now, this is what I would do. I would start with Upwork outreach, plus I would build a brand on LinkedIn and Facebook, aka I would raise up some money by selling shit on eBay, selling shit on Facebook Marketplace, maybe getting a job if I don't have assets to sell, or just things to sell, old possessions to sell. I'm talking like old clothes, old shoes, just random stuff like that. Then what I would do is I'd use that money for Upwork Connects, build up my cash flow from Upwork, and I'd go full hybrid system. So the hybrid system is leveraging a warmer traffic source and then using cold outreach. But before I get into the cold outreach section, whilst I'm building my Upwork, I'd be building my personal brand at the exact same time. So literally, I'm not joking, this is what my days would look like. Morning, wake up early. Always want to wake up early, just because it's a very good discipline to have. Not only that, when you win the morning, you end up winning the day. I've noticed that throughout my entire journey of just entrepreneurship. I would then be going to Upwork and applying to at least 20 to 30, maybe even a little bit more than that. I'd probably stick to around 15 to 25-ish Upwork outreach at this point. I'm doing Upwork outreach to 15 to 25 of them per day, every single day. So yes, I'm buying connects pretty much every single day to apply to jobs. That's why I said you need around 350 USD or something like that these days. It used to be like 216, so it's getting a little bit more expensive, but that actually helps us weed out competition, by the way, because it's obviously the less people that can afford the connects, the better for competition wise. And that's kind of like why I love Upwork as well. It's kind of like a double whammy. I would then be using Upwork. Literally, as soon as I finish my Upwork outreach, I'd probably go for like a 10-minute walk, get a coffee, get a tea or something like that, come straight back to my computer, and I would be making content, video content, short form content. I'd be making picture content and just statuses on Facebook as well about Facebook ads in 2023 for real estate agents, or whatever my niche is at that particular time. So that's exactly what I'd be doing, guys, 110%. And then once I've raised up enough capital, I would then put in place, after I've got what you call proof of concept. Proof of concept means you've actually got proof that something works. So after I've raised up a little capital, I would start introducing slowly cold emails or cold DMs into my game. And eventually what I would do is probably build my own Facebook group, or actually leverage what you call an appointment set. An appointment setter is somebody that can take over your Facebook page, somebody can take over your Instagram page, somebody can take over your LinkedIn page or your cold emails. And what they do is they go out there and start DMing people and messaging people and sparking conversations with these business owners that you've connected with on LinkedIn. And I'd set meetings that way. Now, I know a lot of people are wondering, like, what sort of outreach method should I use when we're doing cold outreach? Here's the kicker, guys. You don't get to decide what outreach method you use. It sounds crazy, but it's actually your niche that decides what outreach method you should use. Think about it. You need to, for example, like cold calling a dentist is very difficult, but getting them on LinkedIn is slightly easier, and sending them emails or LinkedIn, just cold messages, is slightly easier. Whereas car dealership owners, cold calling them is probably the best way to get through to them straight away. So it's actually your outreach method is actually niche dependent. It's actually what your niche is receptive to. Your outreach method derives from what your niche is actually receptive to. What did they respond to the most? So you could actually test that. You could do 100 cold calls to one niche, do 100 cold emails to that same niche, and out of the two, which one got you better results? Which one got you most meetings? Well, I'd probably do a little bit more than that. I'd probably do 250 cold calls and 200 emails and see which one was more receptive. How many responses did you get back? How many positive responses did you get? How many calls did you set? And then what you do is you double down on the method that's actually working. And that's how you figure out what outreach methods is best in 2023, by the way. Don't listen to the gurus, listen to your niche, is what I like to say on this channel. So there's two methods you can use, by the way. Each method, you'll notice that when you're starting from zero, the only really way to start from zero is to build a personal brand around your agency. So connect with people on Facebook, connect with people on LinkedIn, and then start doing cold outreach yourself. You can do that, but that's going to be very slow. So the better method, I would say, is to stack up some capital first and then start doing cold outreach and building a personal brand on Facebook and LinkedIn, whilst having a leveraged appointment setter once you've actually set at least 1 or 2 meetings. So that's the way how I would do it first and foremost. I'd skip over just doing manual outreach myself, to be honest with you, actually going full at it, as in like you're doing 100 messages a day or some crazy shit like that, or 10, 20 messages a day. What I would do is I would establish a proof of concept first and then put a leveraged appointment setter in there. And the reason why I'm saying this, by the way, guys, the key point is, you don't want to put an appointment set in your business at the very start. The reason for it, and I know it sounds like a good idea, but what's going to happen is if you can't set meetings yourself, you can't expect to rely on someone else to set meetings for you. Because you yourself can't even sell your offer or sell your offer enough to get a meeting. So they sure as hell aren't going to. It's almost like scaling what you call a shit system. It's almost like you've got a hole in a bucket and you're just trying to put more water in the bucket to try to get it to fill up. You have to plug the hole first, and then you can turn the tap on and actually fill the bucket up. That's what I mean by getting proof of concept and then scaling up. Don't scale shit. Shit squared is shit squared, guys. Don't square shit. You need to square good systems, and it actually compound over time for you. So anyway, guys, that's the method I would use for the cold outreach stuff, like starting out. Cold emails, cold LinkedIn messages, cold Facebook messages, building a personal brand, kind of like at the same time. And this is kind of like as I'm testing out cold outreach myself, I'm then trying to get that proof of concept and put somebody in place. That's kind of like the first method. The second method is still, instead of doing cold outreach this time, you're doing Upwork outreach, but still building a personal brand, like I said. And then eventually you're going to go into cold outreach. Once you've got proof of concept, you build that cash flow, because then you can easily, it's slightly more easier to do it that way. In fact, it's actually tremendously more easy to do it that way, because on Upwork, it's quite easy to land clients if you know what you're doing. That is, by the way. If you don't know what you're doing, then Upwork's going to be absolutely ass for you, and everyone's like, oh my God, Montell, oh, Upwork doesn't work, blah, 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 blah. I've seen it time and time again. I'm like, yo, did you actually do any research into Upwork? Or did you just listen to one of my videos, click Upwork and just try it? They're like, oh yeah, I just tried it. And I'm like, okay, cool. You don't actually know what you're doing then, do you? And like, no. But anyway, guys, if you are looking to actually get my one-to-one help, click the link below. Or if you just enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a like, comment, subscribe. Or if you're looking for age traumatization, link is below, open for enrollment. Anyway, guys, love you guys. Don't forget to drop a like, comment, subscribe. Peace.